And we're back. Yeah, so I've been overdue on making a rapper tier list, and honestly, when it comes to me having a content drought, I feel like this is the easiest video to make because I feel like you guys really want to see my perspective on things because I'm so critical of rappers. Hold on, let me just focus this a little bit. All right, we're good. So today, we are going to be making a tier list of, I don't know where to put this. I'm gonna put this in the bottom right. I'm going to be ranking every single rapper on this massive list on who I think is, you know, the best in the game and who's the worst. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure you guys have all seen tier list videos, so subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Yeah, let's get underway. I'm gonna take off these sunglasses. This is too dark. First person we have is 21 Savage. I feel like he's in the very talented tier. I feel like he needs a little bit more albums to be in the GOAT category, but 21 Savage has been very consistent in the last couple years, and he has not missed in a long time. I would say in the new generation, he's one of the best in the game, and I really think he's the future of rap. So I'm gonna put him in the very talented tier, but years down the line, I think he could definitely be in the GOAT category because I'm a really big fan of 21 Savage, and I think he's one of the most improved rappers in the game. 6ix9ine, I've actually made an individual video about him, but I'm gonna put him in the almost lax in quality. Honestly, I wouldn't consider him to be entirely trash because in 2018, he actually had a couple songs that were pretty good. But with that being said, obviously I wouldn't say any of his albums are really that good, but he has a couple songs that are pretty good, especially in his prime. Now Black, I don't really listen to. I haven't listened to a full album from Black. Let me know what you guys think about him in the comments. Give me an album for me to listen to. I've only listened to a handful of features from him and a couple songs. That song with J. Cole. I don't really have enough to say enough on Black. For ASAP Ferg, I feel like ASAP Ferg was really in his bag a couple years ago. I don't know if I want to put him in very talented because like in the last couple years, has he really done that much that he deserves to be in this tier? I feel like he's at the top of this tier where he's good but not great, and he is somewhat inconsistent. I feel like this is a good spot for Ferg. Now Rocky's another artist I feel like he's almost in GOAT tier, but he just isn't there yet just because he needs to drop some more projects. With that being said though, I do think he's one of the best in this generation. He just needs to drop more music. He doesn't drop enough. But I think the very talented tier is a really good spot for him just for what he's done for cloud rap. He's definitely one of the best in the genre. Of course, he's kind of moved past the cloud rap sound, but he definitely was one of the best.
What are you talking about? What electronic? What are you talking about?
2 Chainz is a hard one because he's one of my favorite feature artists, but when it comes to individual projects, he's not very consistent really, but his hits do speak for themselves, so it's kind of hard to say, like, would I put him on the same tier as Ferg or would I put him up in the very talented tier? I think 2 Chainz is one of the GOATs, man, but like, is he really that consistent though? It's kind of hard to say. I feel like he's in between these 2 tiers. I'm gonna put him like on a low very talented tier. 50 Cent is a hard one because Get Rich or Die Trying honestly warrants him to be in the GOAT category, especially because what he's done for rap as far as influence. He's definitely one of the most influential rappers, and he was on pace to be one of the highest selling until he kind of just stopped making music. It's kind of a hard one to say. I feel like I gotta put him in GOAT tier just because it'd just be a disrespect to not put him there. And of course he's made songs like Many Men, and just that alone honestly warrants the GOAT tier. A Boogie's an interesting one. I don't hate A Boogie, but he's definitely just not my style. I feel like a lot of people have that opinion where he's not bad, it's just like it's just not my style. His voice I've always kind of been annoyed by, but he's not a bad artist by any means. I would say he's in this tier. He's very just solid. Honestly, I wouldn't skip any song if it comes on, but I'm not going to be like getting crazy over any of his songs besides like maybe like Drowning or something. I actually really like Action Bronson. I remember his song Acting Crazy on the 2K soundtrack. If you guys remember on 2K17, that was one of my favorite songs on there, and I've listened to a lot of Action Bronson songs. I do think that he's one of the best lyricists in the game right now. He's a little bit low key, but I think whenever he drops some music, I'm always going to be checking it out. So I'm definitely gonna put Action Bronson in the very talented tier. I don't think he deserves GOAT tier by any means, but he's really talented, and I really recommend you guys check him out. Aesop Rock, I haven't listened to too much. I do know that there was this one article that said he has the biggest vocabulary out of any rapper or something. I've only listened to a couple songs by him. He's not really my style, but I need to listen to full projects by him to really come to a conclusion. Amine is a hard one because Amine is so unique in the game. His music is so different from everyone else, and Limbo is one of my favorite albums from 2020, and that album has grown on me so much since then. I definitely wouldn't put him down here. I put him probably in the very talented tier. Super underrated, and it's really sad that he hasn't had a hit in a while because I do do think that he brings a lot to the table. Anderson .Paak, since Silk Sonic has cemented himself in the very talented tier. If you go listen to Malibu, that song with Schoolboy Q is so good. Anderson .Paak isn't really a rapper, but he definitely is very talented, and I could not put him any lower than here. Bhad Bhabie does have a couple songs I actually mess with, like the song with Yachty, as well as that one that came out last year. I don't remember the name of it, but is she trash? I don't know. I do feel like her good songs are just carried by the beat, so I'm gonna put her in trash tier. Big Sean's a difficult one because Big Sean is like, he has the hits, but when it comes to albums, this man kind of falls on his face a little bit. Like, I do think Detroit 2 or whatever the one that came out in 2020, I thought that album was pretty good, and it had that one song with Wayne, which was really good, and he has like a lot of hits that I think everyone likes, but it's so hard to say. I want to put him in like the in-between tier. Fine, I'm gonna put him in the very talented tier, but it's so close to putting him in the tier lower. This is the perfect tier for Blocboy JB. I don't think he's entirely trash because he has a couple songs that are pretty good. Granted, they are kind of carried by the features, like Look Alive with Drake and that one song with 21 Savage I can't remember, but Blocboy does have a little bit of a unique style to him with that whole stutter flow, but I've never really been a big fan of him in general, but he does have some bangers. I'm not gonna deny that. Blueface is another artist that deserves to be in this category. Like, yeah, he does have Bleed It. He has a couple songs that I think are pretty good, but I don't know if I would put him anything higher than this tier, honestly. I mean, there was a time where I think I might have put him up here, but at this point, yeah, no, he's definitely not even caring about music. He's just basically just a reality TV star at this point, and he just kind of sucks now.
Yeah.
I think Brockhampton's really good. I think up to this point, everything I've heard from them is really good. I haven't had any bad experiences listening to Brockhampton. I'd say my favorite song by them that I've heard is probably Zipper. I really enjoyed that song, so I'm gonna put them in the very talented tier. I do think that they were super unique. I believe they broke up. I'm not really up to date on my Brockhampton, but everything I've listened to them has been really good. Chance, I feel so bad for Chance because I've listened to like 10 Day and stuff, and I thought those projects were really good, but I just feel like the Big Day just completely ruined all the momentum Chance had. I think before that, people would have put him up here, but after the Big Day, like, people are putting him like down here, which I think is a little bit crazy, but I'm gonna put Chance up here. I do think he's very talented, and I think he's very unique as well. Chief Keef, now this one's really hard because influence wise and, you know, classics songs under his belt, like Chief Keef I would put in the GOAT tier, but when it comes to consistent albums, you are lying to yourself if you think that he's the GOAT when it comes to consistency. But because we put 50 Cent in this category and he isn't super consistent, I feel like it's only right to put Chief Keef here because his influence alone belongs up here. All your favorite rappers' favorite rapper is Chief Keef, at least one of them, so I would put him in the GOAT tier. I wouldn't say he makes as good music as like Aesop Rocky on a consistent level, but just influence alone I think warrants his spot in the GOAT tier. I'm gonna put Childish Gambino in the GOAT tier. I just think how creative he is and the fact that he's been able to just drop so many great projects. I guess I'll put Gambino in the GOAT tier, I guess. I mean, it's kind of hard to say because he doesn't drop too much and he is a little bit inconsistent, but his newer projects like Awaken My Love, you know, he has so many classics under his belt and he's super versatile. I'm gonna put him in the GOAT tier, just not a super high GOAT. Comethazine, I feel like Comethazine, I'm gonna put him in this tier. I do think that Comethazine is decent, but he's just so one-dimensional, it's actually annoying, where it's like he just limits himself so much by only doing like one style of music, and I feel like he could do so much more, and he doesn't get any features either. It's just the same thing over and over and over. It's getting kind of annoying at this point, but I'm gonna put him here. I do think he's better than all these three, 6ix9ine, Blocboy, and Blueface.
Why?
Cupcake, I've only heard her like 3 times in my life, and I don't think I want to listen to her again. I'm not gonna put her in trash just in case if people get mad at me for it, but I'm gonna just put her here. Dababy, I think people are a little too disrespectful towards Dababy. I do think he has a lot of really good songs where I don't think he deserves to be down here. Obviously, I don't think he's been as good as he used to be, and he definitely has fallen off completely, and it's honestly sad at this point, but I'll put him in this tier. I don't think Dababy's that bad. He has a lot of good songs. Danny Brown's a hard one because like he's not really my type of music, but he is still very talented. and I do love his personality too. So I'm gonna put him in the very talented tier. I do think he's a really talented guy and super unique. It's just it kind of took me a while to get used to his sound. Denzel Curry, I don't think anybody's gonna debate me on this. He's definitely in the very talented tier. If he keeps up the way he's going, he will be in the GOAT tier when it's all said and done, no doubt about it. But he's in the very talented tier for now. Designer only has like one good song in my opinion. I'm gonna put him in the almost entirely trash, but not really. He has a couple good songs, but he kind of is just a Future ripoff. But Panda deserves him to be in this tier. Drake, I don't think anyone's gonna debate me on this. Drake is a GOAT. Just commercial wise, and he has amazing albums. Like If You're Reading This Is Too Late, Take Care, and even his newer albums I don't think are entirely trash. I feel like people kind of overhate him now because it's Drake, but Drake deserves to be in GOAT tier. Come on. Earl has so many great songs, and I've just now discovered how great Earl is, but it's really hard for me to say, like, does Earl have the influence and is he iconic enough to be in the GOAT tier? That's my question. Does he deserve to be up there? I feel like he kind of deserves to be like his quality of music is really good, but it's really hard. I feel like he's kind of like in that Denzel Curry spot where when it's all said and done, he will be in the GOAT tier, but he just still has more to do, I guess.
I don't care.
I just moved everyone from Run the Jewels at the bottom. I haven't listened to them yet. I have listened to a handful of songs and they're pretty good, but I need to listen to more of their projects to get a full glimpse of what they're made of. It's my bad for not listening to enough of their music, but I will take time out to listen to them. Eminem, I don't think anyone's going to debate. He's in the GOAT tier. Highest commercial selling rapper of all time. I think the Marshall Mathers LP is one of the greatest albums, rap albums I've ever heard, and he's still at the top of the game years later. Like over 2 decades later, this man is still one of the most talked about artists. The rhyme schemes, just the wordplay, everything. I don't think anyone's going to debate me on Eminem not being in GOAT tier. Famous Dex, I'm going to put him in here. I think Famous Dex is so overhated and underrated. I think when he was in his prime from 2016 to 2018, Famous Dex was one of my favorites. I actually really liked Famous Dex, and it's really sad to see him fall off the mainstream and almost lost his life or something. Like, he was going through a lot a couple years ago. I hope he's doing better now. French Montana, I cannot stand. Of course, I know what he's done for New York. And he was, or in the early 2010s, he did have a lot of, his music was a little bit better, but it just never was my style. I'm not going to call him trash because he does have a couple verses that are okay, but he does get carried by features a lot. So I'm going to put him in the almost lacks in quality, but he's going to stay there. Future, I'm going to put in GOAT tier. Of course, I would say like there might be some artists in the tier below him that have more consistent projects, but Future's influence on trap is easily in GOAT tier, and he also is still at the top of his game. For the last decade, he's been making so many hits. I can't not put him in GOAT tier. It's Future. G-Eazy, I'm gonna put him in this tier. I honestly, like, I could not pick out G-Eazy in a crowd, but I'm not gonna call him trash either. I'll put him at the top of this tier, honestly. I would listen to all these artists. I would listen to A Boogie before G-Eazy. I'll say that much. G Herbo, I'm gonna put him in this tier. I feel like we gotta have more artists in that mid tier, above below the very talented tier, because I feel like G Herbo's in this perfect spot where whenever he has a feature, I always enjoy it, but he's not an artist I'm really gonna be looking out for too much, but he's decent. I'm not gonna hold anything against G Herbo. Gucci Mane is a hard one because Gucci is super inconsistent. I think he dropped like 75 mixtapes in 2015. But like, Gucci has so many amazing songs and he's done so much for trap. I gotta put him in this tier. I would almost put him in GOAT tier just for his influence, and also his autobiography is really good. I'm gonna put him in very talented, though. I do think he's one of the best trap artists of all time, for sure. I would put him up there for top 10 greatest trap artists and artists out of Atlanta, in my opinion. Gunna, before Drip Season 4, I would actually put him a little bit down here, but like, I wouldn't put him in very talented. I think Gunna is kind of I don't know. Gunna's not really for me, but I wouldn't say Gunna is really that bad. I think Drip Season 4 is actually a really good project. Despite me not coming back to it too much, I think Gunna is perfect in this tier where I feel like he needs to drop more albums. Like, he does have the hits, he has the features, but I just feel like he needs to drop like another album that's like really, really iconic, because I feel like he hasn't done that yet, in my opinion. I wasn't really a big fan of Wanna, but his Drip Season series is pretty good, so I'll put him in the good but not great tier. J. Cole, I'm gonna put him in GOAT tier. He was the artist that got me into rap. Songs like Rise and Shine, and then of course like all of 2014 Forest Hills Drive. He's always been one of my favorites. He's still in my top 3 all time, as far as personal favorites. So I'm gonna put J. Cole in GOAT tier, especially when it's all said and done. there's no doubt he's going to be in the GOAT tier. Jaden Smith, I'm gonna put him in this tier. I feel like Jaden Smith's a little bit overhated because he's a cornball, but he does have some good songs. I'm not gonna lie, he has some nice songs. Even though he kind of rips off a lot of other people, I wouldn't put him down here. And he has a couple songs that I actually think are pretty good. Jay-Z is arguably, I would say, the greatest rapper of all time. Top 3 for me. Just as far as greatest consistency, he's definitely in the GOAT tier, no doubt about it. JID, so this one's a hard one. Before the Forever Story or whatever that album was called, I would put him in here. But now after that album, I'm not going to put him in GOAT, but he's definitely at the top of Very Talented. He's definitely one of the best in the game right now. And one more amazing album like he just did, he might be in GOAT tier. I'm not even joking. Like, this is honestly the greatest thing J. Cole has done in the last couple years, is just introduce us to JID. But yeah, JID is really, really good. Check out Forever Story. It's a great album.
Facts.
Joey, no question, is going to go in the Very Talented tier. He's so good. Just the consistency. I took a long break from music but came back still swinging. Joey's also a really, really good artist. I think he's one of the best in the game, and definitely is an all-time great. When it's all said and done, he'll probably be in GOAT tier as well. Joyner Lucas is talented, but he just makes like music that, like, I feel like it's for people that just don't like rap, like just like the fast flow. It's just like a poor man's Eminem, and it's so corny sometimes too. I'm not gonna say he's trash by any means, because he's talented and he has a decent singing voice too, but like, I'm gonna put him here for now. He just needs to have an album where he's like, he has so much potential to make so much more. JPEG Mafia, I haven't listened to enough Peggy. I do enjoy a lot of his music, but from the few songs I've listened to, I've enjoyed him, but I haven't listened to enough of his music. Juice WRLD, I feel like if he was still alive today making music, he would be in the Very Talented tier. I'm not gonna put him, I'll probably put him at the low Very Talented tier for me personally. I do think he's a little bit overrated because he passed away, and I do think, you know, yeah, the freestyles are amazing, but as far as like albums he's made, he has a lot of good albums even before he passed away. But I'm gonna put him here for now. He's kind of limited because he didn't have enough time to shine in the mainstream, but I feel like if it was all said and done and if he was still alive today, still making music, he could have been in GOAT tier, but I'm gonna put him in Very Talented. Kanye, despite controversies, no question, he's up there. Probably the greatest hip-hop artist in my opinion of all time, just from consistency alone. Kendrick, I don't think anyone's gonna debate Kendrick about being in S tier. Kendrick just does not miss. He doesn't. His new album, even though people didn't like it, some people didn't, I thought it was a great album. Really happy that he won Rap Album of the Year, and as well as a couple other Grammys. So yeah, Kendrick's definitely a GOAT, no question. I'm gonna also put Kid Cudi. I don't know, would I put him in GOAT tier or would I put him at the top of Very Talented? I'm putting him at the top of Very Talented. Like, Man on the Moon series is really good, but he does have a little bit of inconsistency to him. I listened to that Intergalactic album, and I was not a fan of that album at all, really. He dropped that movie I was a little bit indifferent towards, but he definitely has like the Man on the Moon series under his belt, as well as his work with Kanye, which definitely puts him in the Very Talented tier. But I don't know where Kid Cudi's going to be from here on out. He's not really entirely my style, but he definitely is super unique, and you know, he's done stuff like what he's done for Travis Scott. You know, I don't think Travis Scott would be where he is if it wasn't for Kid Cudi. Kodak drops a lot of music, but it is pretty good. He always has a hit like on the charts. There's always at least one Kodak song, and I do have to give him credit for that. I'm gonna put him at the top of good but not great. I used to really not like Kodak, but he's definitely gotten better over the last couple years, and I do respect him for coming back out of prison and just come back swinging the way he did. So I'm gonna put him in the good but not great tier. Lil B is a GOAT, but like, it's Lil B. You know what? For Lil B, we're actually going to be making our own tier. We're going to make a tier below just for Lil B. We're gonna do that. We're gonna make a Lil B tier because we're gonna put the base tier for Lil B. You know, because I just feel like Lil B is just so hard to rank. I'm gonna just put him here. We're gonna put him in the base tier. Lil Baby. Now, when it comes to songs and features, this man does not miss. But there's one thing that's the Achilles heel of Lil Baby's career, and that is albums. This man cannot drop a consistent album to save his life. I'm sorry, My Turn was okay at best when it came to listening to it in its entirety. Like, he just needs to have an album that's like a conceptual album. I know he's capable of it, but he just doesn't. He can't make an album where I'm like, That's a classic right there. Of course, he has classic songs and features, but I just feel like he needs that album. That's just the one thing that's missing from him. But I'm definitely going to put him in the very talented tier. He's one of the best in the game, and I'm always going to check out Lil Baby whenever he drops, obviously. Lil Dicky, honestly, you're a better actor than you are a rapper, my boy. I would say he's in this tier. I do think he has a couple creative songs, even if they're not that great. Like the Brain EP was really bad, but I do like the song with Fetty Wap. You know, he has a couple songs I thought were pretty cool and creative, but I'm definitely not going to listen to Lil Dicky. His music is just not as good as his show. Lil Peep is a hard one because Lil Peep has a couple really good songs for me, but he's just not my style. It's really hard to say because if he was still alive, I feel like he could be up here, but I'm going to put him at like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to really trigger some people with this, but I'm going to put him at the top of here just because he's just not my type of music. Lil Pump. Hey, you can't lie. In his prime, he had a couple bangers, but yeah, objectively speaking, Lil Pump's music is kind of trash. It just is. Lil Skies, I feel like Lil Skies is good in this tier. I put him around here. He's good, but not great. I listened to that new album he dropped a couple years ago. The one with Unbothered, I think was what it was called. That album was so bad. It was just so boring. I just feel like he lost his style. You know, he used to have a really nice style back 2017, 2018, but he just completely lost it. Lil Uzi. This is a hard one because would I put Lil Uzi in the very talented or GOAT tier? Because objectively speaking, ASAP is more consistent than like Lil Uzi. JID, with his few album drops, have been more consistent than Lil Uzi. But Lil Uzi on influence, Uzi's ability to get everyone's attention whenever there's a new album dropping, I just so iconic. It's just so hard to say. I'm gonna put Uzi in the GOAT tier just because the Perfect Love tape, Lil Uzi Vert versus the World, Love is Rage 2, even Eternal Take I thought was really good after a while. I'm gonna put Uzi in GOAT tier. You know what? Sue me. Lil Wayne, no doubt, is going to be in GOAT tier. Definitely in my top 5. Just what he's done for influence as well as just his rapping ability is second to none. He's that good that he literally, I remember one time he remixed a Jay-Z song, and after Jay-Z heard it, he literally took a walk thinking about his life, thinking if he still really had it, because Lil Wayne was that guy. Honestly, Lil Wayne, when he was in his bag, he still is in his bag. He's still super talented. Without a doubt is in GOAT tier. I don't think anyone's going to debate me on that. Yachty is such a roller coaster, man, because for a while I listened to his entire Michigan tape, but now he's actually gotten a lot better. I would say I'm gonna put Yachty in very talented. I think he's been able to stay relevant for a long time, and I think his new album is really good too. So I'm gonna put him in very talented. Logic, he honestly should have stopped making music after that No Pressure tape. I really enjoyed that album, but he's still making music now. I don't really listen to much of it anymore, but Logic in his prime was that guy. A little bit corny at times, but he definitely has a lot of great albums. I'm gonna put him in very talented. Mac Miller is one of my personal favorites, and would I put him in GOAT tier after Circles? Yes, I will. I'm gonna put him in GOAT tier. I think he's just that good. Mac is one of my favorite artists of all time. Fell in love with his music after he dropped Circles. So good. MGK deserves to be in this tier. He does have a couple cool songs, but I do not like his punk rock stuff, and I didn't really like his rapping either, but Till I Die is a pretty good song. His songs with Trippie are pretty good too. I'm gonna put him in the occasionally good tier. Macklemore, it'd be disrespectful to put him in this tier. I think Macklemore had, in his prime, he did have a couple nice hits. Even if they were like super generic pop rap, you know, just the most bubblegum of rap I've ever heard, but just the most radio friendly music I've ever heard. But I'm gonna put him in the, he's occasionally good in his prime. I don't, obviously like right now I'm not going to be listening to Macklemore, but you know, Thrift Shop was my song when I was in elementary school. Made in Tokyo is so underrated. I'm sorry, he deserves so much more in his career, but I'm gonna put him in this tier. I think Sincerely Tokyo is a really good project, and anyone who's a fan of Playboi Carti's old style of music, you should check out Made in Tokyo's music. He's a lot like that, where it's kind of like the self-titled Carti era. Meek Mill, I'm gonna put Meek Mill in this tier. You know, when it comes to albums, this guy's actually really good, and I'm not gonna put the guy that made Dreams and Nightmares anywhere lower than here. Meek is a cornball in real life, but he definitely has a lot of great albums and great songs where I cannot put him anywhere lower than very talented. He is a very talented artist. and one of the best out of Philly. Migos is a hard one because they're so iconic, and in their prime they were hit makers. Rest in peace Takeoff, of course. I'm gonna put them in very talented. I think when they were in their bag they were here, but I wouldn't put them in GOAT tier. I just don't think they had enough albums where I was like, yeah, they're those guys. But Culture's an iconic album I really enjoyed, but the inconsistency kind of takes them down from the GOAT tier. But one of the best rap groups of this generation, no doubt about it. I'm gonna put them in very talented. Nas, probably my favorite 90s rapper of all time. He's definitely higher up than a lot of other guys. Nas is so good. Illmatic alone kind of puts him in the GOAT tier. I think he's one of the best of all time. I don't think anyone's going to debate me on that, and he's still in his bag. 20 years later, his stuff with Hit Boy is still really good. Nicki is probably the best female rapper I've ever heard. I think she's really, really talented, and her influence on the game is absolutely incredible. At least as far as since like 2010, she has been the best female rapper, and it has not been close. I don't think, I also don't want to get killed by the Barbs, so I'm going to put her in GOAT tier. No Name, I have not listened to enough No Name. I only remember her from the whole J. Cole beef, if you want to call it that. I thought the song was kind of but I do know that her music's really good. A lot of people are telling me that her music's really good, but I haven't listened to No Name outside of a couple songs, like when she was beefing with J. Cole, if you want to call it that. Up until the point Takeoff died, I would say Offset was the best Migo. He was just the most consistent. His flow, he was the one that was the most successful too. I wouldn't put Offset in very talented. He definitely was at the end of the Migos, right before they broke up, he was the face of the Migos at that point. He just was in his bag. Cardi, would I put Cardi in GOAT tier? No, only because he hasn't dropped enough. But Cardi's definitely one of the most influential of this generation, and Cardi will be talked about for decades. I promise you I'm not joking, bro. I do think Cardi is one of the best, and he's definitely one of the most iconic, and the way that he's been able to influence the culture, more ways than one. He's just, honestly, he's just that guy, man.
Whole lot of red.
Post Malone, I've never really seen as a rapper, at least not in the last couple years, but would I put Post in very talented? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's as consistent as that he could be. He does have the hits, but as far as albums go, he is a little bit inconsistent, especially his last album I did not really care for at all, but he's definitely a good artist. I wouldn't put that past him. Pusha T, I'm going to put in GOAT tier. His last two albums were amazing. I love Daytona. It's Almost Dry was also really good. That was the album I wanted to win rap album of the year, but Kendrick won it, which was fine, but Pusha T, absolute GOAT, no question. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. Quavo was always my least favorite Migo, just because outside of his hooks, which are really good, his verses were always the weakest out of all the Migos. He was the face of the Migos early on, but I'm gonna put Quavo here. He definitely was probably my least favorite Migo personally, but he's not bad by any means. Ray Shremmerd, in their prime, Ray Shremmerd was up here, but their recent stuff has been really bad, or at least just forgettable, where I'm just going to put them down here. I'm sorry. Sway Lee kind of carried Ray Shremmerd too. I was not really a fan of Slim Jimmy. Sway Lee carried him. Rich the Kid, I'm going to put Rich the Kid in this tier. Personally, I think Rich the Kid is one of the most one-dimensional rappers I've ever heard, but his hits are nice. I think New Freezer's a good song. I think Plug Walk is obviously a classic, and when he was making music with Famous Dex, it was really good, but for what it was. But obviously, I don't think that Rich the Kid had any staying power or shelf life. That his fall off was really bad. I almost made a video on Rich the Kid, but I'm gonna put him over here. Rihanna is not a rapper, but you know, she has one of the few artists to have a Super Bowl performance in this list. I'm gonna put her in GOAT tier. Her hooks over the years, her work with Kanye is some of my favorite music ever. Run This Town was one of the first rap songs I've ever heard, and Rihanna made that song so memorable. You got to put Rihanna in GOAT tier. She's such an icon now. Billionaire, can't put that past her. I've put so many people in the very talented because there's just a lot of very talented people, but like this tier is so big. It's a big gap now. And now that I'm looking at it, there's a big gap between the talent here. But Sheck West had a couple banger songs. I wish he had more hits because honestly his style of music I really enjoyed, but I'm gonna put him in this tier. I do think he's around this spot where he does have Mo Bamba. He has a couple other songs that are pretty good, but obviously Sheck West was not able to keep his relevancy after Mo Bamba. It was kind of like Designer with Panda. It was just that big where I don't think he was ever gonna capture lightning in a bottle like that again. Ski Mask isn't very talented. I think Ski Mask just needs to drop more music for him to be a higher up on this tier. He just does not drop any music. I don't know why, because he had so much hype earlier on and he just decided to not make anything, and I just don't understand. But Ski Mask is still really talented nonetheless. He was my first artist to see at a live performance, and it was really good. So I'm gonna put him in the very talented tier. Smoke Perp is also in this tier, kind of with Lil Pump, where he has a couple bangers. Nephew, Audi, a couple nice songs, but obviously Smoke Perp is not very consistent at all. I think his music's pretty bad for the most part. I've never really enjoyed much of his music outside of a couple songs. Snoop Dogg, you gotta put him in GOAT tier. Like, obviously, like the whole thing with the crypto thing where he like took his albums off of streaming services, which I thought was really stupid, but like Snoop Dogg's that guy. Like like Snoop's one of the first artists I ever heard about, and in the 90s, you know, Gin and Juice, Doggy Style, and you know, Drop It Like It's Hot, you know, his stuff with Dre. You can't not put him in GOAT tier. It's Snoop Dogg. Sway Lee, I would put Sway Lee higher than Ray Shremmerd. I'd say Sway Lee's still a little bit inconsistent. I haven't really heard an album from him where I was like, I don't even know if Sway Lee dropped an album, but of course his hits and his features speak for themselves. He's a really good singer. I just hope that he has a comeback, because I did enjoy Ray Shremmerd when they were in their prime. T-Pain's a hard one because, like, influence-wise, T-Pain's one of the most influential artists with the whole auto-tune sound, and I like T-Pain as a person. He's like one of my favorite personalities in rap. I'm gonna put him in very talented. I just feel like not enough people talk about him. I really can't say. I can't say for T-Pain. I would put him around this tier. Takeoff was my favorite Migo. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's the best Migo, but he was my personal favorite. I'm gonna put him next to Offset. I thought those two were the best at the end of it. He was my personal favorite, but Offset was the better one. But Takeoff was always one of my favorites. Rest in peace, Takeoff. Take It doesn't have enough music for me to put him in very talented, but if he was still out and still making music, he would be in very talented. I'm kind of upset that he got arrested, because he had so much potential. Like, obviously what he did is not anything to excuse, but you know, he was really talented with his style of music. I'm gonna put him in the good but not great tier. T Grizzly is from my home state, Michigan. I'm gonna put him in this tier. He's honestly more known for Grand Theft Auto at this point than his actual music, but First Day Out, that song with YNW Melly, he has a lot of really good songs under his belt. That song with Lil Yachty as well. He's one of my favorite rappers from Michigan, so gotta give him respect where it's due. I think I've been to his house one time and I didn't even realize it, so yeah, I'm gonna put him in the good but not great tier. Tory Lanez is really talented, but I feel like album wise, like, I know people really enjoyed his 80s album, but like, I've never really been a fan of his like albums, really. He has a couple songs I enjoy. I'm gonna put him in this tier. Obviously, like the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing, I'm not gonna affect my rating of him. This is how I felt before he got convicted, so that's where I put him. Travis Scott is my favorite rapper probably from this generation, just like the best in my opinion. Astroworld's amazing, Rodeo's amazing, Days Before Rodeo's amazing, Birds in the Trap I really enjoyed as well, and I know Utopia is going to be amazing. Of course, the whole Astrofest thing was a major tragedy, but he's always been one of my favorites, and I will always enjoy Travis Scott. The only problem is like someone like Kid Cudi, who was a major inspiration to Travis, would I put him above? I would just say Travis is more consistent than Kid Cudi. That's the hard thing. I'm gonna put Travis at the top of very talented. It's kind of hard to say. I don't know. I can't put Travis Scott in GOAT tier if I don't put Kid Cudi there. I'm gonna put him in the very talented tier. Trippy is one of my personal favorite artists of all time. I just think that his ability to be super versatile, as well as being a really good singer, as well as having a lot of personality on the microphone, as well as being the only artist to really make it out of his generation, outside of Cardi and Uzi. Like, X passed away. X was my favorite artist until he passed away, and then Trippy was like my next go-to, as I was like, what else can I listen to? I'm gonna listen to Trippy instead. I think Trippy recently has been a little bit inconsistent, but Trippy is very, very talented and probably one of the most overhated artists in this generation. I think his influence is super underrated as well. What he's done for the Rage sound, as well as his singing and his rapping, he's super underrated. I just feel like his drama that he's been caught up in, as well as just the way he presents himself, kind of makes people not like him. But he's really good. I don't know why people hate him so much. Obviously, like right now, he's not doing too well. But just wait for a Love Letter to U5, man. I'm telling you guys are gonna enjoy it. Tyga this is a perfect tier for Tyga. He has his hits, but no one's listening to an album from Tyga. No one is. Tyler the Creator at this point isn't GOAT tier. He's too consistent. I even like his older music too. A lot of people say it's inconsistent, but I like Tyler. I do think his fans are a little bit annoying, like booing Drake off the stage. I thought was really corny, but his music now for the last decade has been incredible. and he will continue to be making amazing music. I don't think anyone's gonna say Tyler isn't, you know, in the at least very talented. I'm gonna put him in GOAT tier.
Okay.
Vic Mensa, I've never been a fan of. Honestly, the most well-known thing I know him from is the whole X thing where he like dissed X for no reason after he passed away, which was the corniest thing. He has that one song with Kanye, I think it was Wolves, but besides that, I've never really enjoyed any of Vic Mensa's music, and he had that whole rock album that was really bad. I'm putting him here. X, one of the most talented of this generation. Biggest what if in rap. What if X was still alive today? Where would he be? I think that the only thing he was really missing is he just needed to work with bigger artists outside of his camp to really make an amazing album. Like, of course he has amazing songs and he brought so much to the table, and it's just so sad to see him pass away. I just thought the fact that people are still talking about him to this day just goes to show how big X could have been. He already is one of the biggest artists of this generation. I put X in very talented. Very well could have been a GOAT if he was still alive today, but definitely a legend nonetheless. Cordae, before The Lost Boy, I would put him here, but like his last album I was not too big of a fan of. I'll put him here for now still. I think Cordae is kind of like almost like a washed up, or not washed up, but like a watered down J. Cole. And over time I kind of realized that more and more. I think Cordae is capable of making bigger songs, but I just feel like now he's just like, I don't know, he doesn't really bring anything to the table that I haven't seen before, that I couldn't get from another artist. But he is still a really talented lyricist when he wants to be, and I think his singing voice is underrated too. It's just he just chooses to make albums that are not as good as he could be. You know, he just doesn't make enough albums where I feel like he's like he could be higher. YBN Namir, in his prime, I would say he had a couple good bangers, but you know, Soul Train kicked him down a little bit. YBN Namir in his prime is kind of hard to say because like he had his hits when he was in his prime, but he dropped Soul Train too, so I'm gonna put him down here. And his debut album was really bad, but his YBN era, when he was in YBN, he was pretty good. But he's better than everyone in this tier, I'll say that much. But Namir's kind of he is something. YNW Melly, I'm gonna put YNW Melly here. I think he was a little bit overrated. I've never really been too big of a fan outside of his hits. Like when it came to albums, this guy was not really that memorable. Like of course he has his songs, his hit songs like 223s, Murder on My Mind, and all these songs, but Melly, I never really got to see him really progress past the hits that he had. Young Thug, I'm gonna put in GOAT tier. You know, I'm putting people like Chief Keef in here for influence. You can't not put Young Thug in here on the GOAT. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. He has my favorite song of all time, which is Good Times by Jamie XX. I'm gonna put Young Thug in GOAT tier. Young Boy, inconsistency is his biggest problem. He drops too much. He doesn't wait long enough to drop a new project. He drops like 4 projects a year, and yes, he does have a hit song usually out of each project, but he's just so inconsistent where I cannot listen to him consistently. I just get kind of sick of him. But Young Boy is still really good. I do think he has a good a very unique style. I like his aggressive music, I like his slow music. I think it's all really it's really solid when he knows what he's doing, but he's just inconsistent. Lil Mosey Lil Mosey, a couple years ago I might have put him up here, but now at this point Lil Mosey has completely thrown his career away. Ever since those allegations came out against him and they put his career on hold, he has been dropping pretty much nothing, and from what he has been dropping, it's nothing that we haven't heard before. And yeah, he's definitely is on the decline for sure. Lil Nas X, I actually really enjoyed his album. His Montero album I thought was really good. I don't think he has enough music for me to put him higher than this, but you know, he has the hits and he has the ability to make really big songs. Like obviously he's very controversial. People like don't like the way he presents himself, but I'm not going to put that against him. Obviously I don't really have a problem with it. I know it's all artistic expression at the end of the day, but I'll put him in the good but not great tier. I do think he could be higher up if he drops more music. I do not listen to Death Grips. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I'm unsure about Death Grips. I haven't listened to them really. Megan Thee Stallion, early on I actually really enjoyed her music, but I feel like now she's gotten so mainstream where she's just trying to make hits now. Like I can totally tell what she's trying to do. Her older stuff was way better in my opinion. I'm gonna put her in this tier. I do think she's pretty talented, but she used to be better in my opinion. Rico Nasty is a hard one because I listened to like entire albums by her and she's just not my style. Honestly, she's in that not for me category where I don't think she's bad, but it's just like she's just not my style in my opinion. I'm gonna put her in the unsure just because like she's not bad, she's just not for me. Roddy Ricch, okay, this is an interesting one because before he dropped Live Life Fast and Feed the Streets 3 or whatever, like I'd put him up here. Like Antisocial is one of my favorite albums from 2019, but now he's like going down here. He has declined so much. He could have been up here so easily if he dropped another project on the level of Antisocial. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, he waited too long and then he just got too comfortable, and now he's just, it is honestly so sad. Like, I was so looking forward to Roddy's new album, and he just dropped one of the most forgettable albums, and it's so sad. But I'm putting him here. He's not bad. He still has Antisocial under his belt. He has Feed the Streets too. He's still really talented, but man, did he really let me down. YK, I've never liked any of his music really. Even his hits I thought were pretty trash. I'm gonna put YK in trash, I'm sorry. He's just 10 years too late. If he was 10 years ago, he probably would have been one of the biggest artists, but nah. Young Lean is super influential, as well as one of my favorite rappers in the cloud rap scene. One of my personal favorites just in general. I'll put him at the top of very talented. I do think he's one major pioneer in the scene, and he does have amazing albums. I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful for everyone below him to not put him in the GOAT tier. And he might be GOAT. I don't know. Influence, yeah, I might put him in GOAT because I put Chief Keef in here, and he's more consistent than Chief Keef. I don't know. I'll put him here for now. Let me know what you guys think of Young Lean. Zilla Kami, I think he's one of the most unique in the space, but I know he has a really big cult following, but I like Zilla Kami, but he's not my favorite. I'll put him in here. I think he's really funny. Just what he like posts pictures with rocket launchers and stuff. I think he's funny, but we're gonna put him in good but not great tier. MF Doom is one of my favorites of all time. Put him in the GOAT tier. I think MF Doom, one of the most underrated artists of all time. I know once he passed away, a lot of people kind of flocked over to his music, but yeah, it's very well deserved. He has so many great projects under his belt. Figaro is my personal favorite song by him. And yeah, that is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be really mad about my rankings, but me personally, you know, this is my opinion, so I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, that's where I would put it. But yeah, this is how I'm feeling about this list. I know I'm gonna get a bunch of comments saying like, you put this person in this tier but this person in this tier, or you put this in this tier and not in there. Like, I know this is a personal opinion, obviously. Hopefully you guys don't crucify me in the comments for this, but yeah, that's how I feel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hope you guys all have a great day, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.